Hi everyone, welcome to a game overview slash early review of Parkasaurus, a dinosaur park building game that's available on PC in early access. This is version 0.606 in alpha, but it plays really nicely as a game already, so I'm super excited to see how far this game goes in the long term. It is very much in a 2.5D low poly aesthetic, but what it lacks in the beauty of aesthetic in terms of like the detail of the graphics, it makes up for more than enough in the depth of park sim management that it gives. This is a quick oversight of my Parkasaurus Cax park. I forgot I'd called it that. You get up to 5 stars rating for the level that you're playing at the time, and there's different scenarios that you can work through. And you also have different currencies apart from the actual money itself. You have research points for science as well as heart points for looking after your dinosaurs. And here's me just clicking through some of the other general overview levels of stats that you can look at around your staff, your finances, your park's rating, what your visitors are up to, and some of the stuff in the office isn't actually implemented yet, like a dinosaur like Wikipedia type stuff. Now the game works in a day cycle, and of course there are 7 days in a week, and that equates to a season. So when you're going through a year's worth of the game, you're actually going through 4 weeks of being open, and it's 1 week per season. As you can see, each dinosaur that you have, and there's my little stegosauruses, they all have their own little versions of things that you need to look out for. So they might be lonely if they're by themselves, they might need specific stuff in their lot to keep them happy, like water, rocks, trees. My dinosaurs are very private, and if you keep building lots of paths around them, then they get scared if they have nowhere to hide. And I haven't unlocked the hiding stuff in this level so far, like for their little shelters to hide away from the public and get their sanity back. So it's well worth investing in that. Here you can see some of the other shops and stuff like that I've built alongside. They're all colour coordinatable if you want to, and yeah, so you can kind of theme your park into certain colours if you want, and you've got the ability to change prices for profit, and so on and so forth. And each building and each shop that you open up has the ability to deal with that, along with the ticket prices itself. Each tree is planted, every grass and path is laid out as you'd expect in a normal park simulator, and that all works really nicely, and I'll build something a little bit later on just to show you, but I just want to show you the mechanics at the minute. So, looking at Constance, my Steggy, as you can see, she's a bit sad because she's got no toys to play with, but I have got her some friends, which is quite nice. And she's happy in her environment, and you can see that this is done as a rainforest, and you do that by putting in bushes, trees, waters and rocks to basically affect that biodiversity, so you can see where you end up in that scale. So you could end up in something quite deserty, you could just end up in something foresty if you've not got any water in there. And so you need to be quite careful that your dinosaurs match the biome that you're building, and I really like that trade-off, because you have to think actually I could make something that's full of hills and grass, and you can affect the terrain, which I don't do in this video to make hills and that kind of stuff. But here you can see I'm building out a new exhibit here. Very, very simple on the drag and drop controls. What I really like is that when you bring up the fences here, it lines up where you're going. Now I get a bit confused with the initial clicking here, and I always have done, but I really like, and I go back and forth here to demonstrate it, how it lines you up so that you can go, right, I am actually making a proper square. I can't, because I'm about to go into another exhibit that I've already got going, a little science project thing that's going on there. But as soon as that's done, it then gives you the space that you've got for that exhibit, and its current type at the moment, so it's just grass. Each exhibit needs to have a fence and a door. I have had my dinosaurs break out and escape, and you get your security guards basically to tranquilise them. You can order them to tranquilise, you don't necessarily do the tranquilising yourself, unlike the Jurassic Park stuff. So the wooden fence is kind of the least resistant and least private, but it's the cheapest and it's the only one that we've got. You then chuck in your dinosaur eggs, and here you can see it's currently sitting this biome in the forest thing. And so what I'm going to do is build up the biodiversity by starting to stick different trees in. And as you can see, for the biodiversity that we want for our steggies, this is all very much around how can we make this not just a healthy place, but what do we want in terms of wetness and sand. So it's the trade-off between the lot. So you need to make sure that there's a healthy environment for things to grow. As you can see, bushes and trees to an extent need water. So if you start planting stuff and they've got nothing to grow, they don't actually last very long. So what you need to do is then go into your terrain, start plopping down some water. You can make hills and dips, and you can do deep water as well, which I've not really played about with too much, but essentially that's for where you're going to want some of your aquatic dinos to pop in. And as you can see with the water, it's just literally drag and drop and in goes the stuff. And once you hit the right note, there you saw I crossed over into rainforest. Only just, but that's enough for the time being. But if I then made that exhibit bigger later on and didn't put more water in, there's a chance that I'd actually knock that biome back into forest again. So if I do expand this in the future, I'll need to put more water in to make sure that it's acceptable for my dinosaurs. So they're happy with the rocks and the trees and the water and the bushes. And so that Stegosaurus, once it hatches, will be happy. It won't be playful because it's got no friends to play with. So what we're going to do is start going around the shops and seeing what we can do to get him a playmate. The first thing that you can do is buy food, and you can have it on a daily delivery, which is always good. All of my dinosaurs at the moment are vegans, plant eating, so they need to do with stuff. Here's where you get your eggs though, and you get your eggs by going to the egg shop and trading in essentially stuff that you've got on your expedition digs with your scientists to basically create eggs. And as you can see here, I've not got enough footprints and skulls or gems to create anything. Now gems you can buy from a shop as well as discover, but otherwise you need to go to your scientists and go for a portal back through time. And it takes a little while for that, so you kind of set it off and then it will give you a notification once that's come back. But what I think I'm aware of here is that I don't actually have enough scientists to maintain the science expedition and our science lab as well as going on an expedition, so I need to hire some more stuff, but I go on a bit of a spree anyway just to kind of show you that you've got vets, janitors, scientists and security that you need to hire. Each one does different things, and my previous day when I was playing this, everyone was complaining that my park was a shithole. So I needed to hire a janitor anyway. Add to the fact that I'd actually forgotten up until this point to add in a toilet. Don't judge me. I'm learning the game. But yeah, the people at the end of the day, and you can see the timer for the day going across the top there. So we're into the evening time, and once that hits 10 p.m, the park shuts, and it's the end of the day. So here's me looking at some of the other stuff that you've got. So you unlock shops as you go along through your research that you spend. So I think this is where I start to add on different other bits and bobs. Or I might wait until the next day for me to be able to do it. No, I don't. I go through it here. I start adding in a gazebo, I think. Yes, I do. And here you can see you press R to rotate round, and it tells you kind of where people can get on and off an object. So you just line it up with a path and off and away you go. I like the fact that paths can kind of run around wherever, and you're quite happy with that, and it's very simple to do. Here you can see the park's now closing, so you've got basically 30 seconds to milk as much dosh as you can, because once the day is over you can't put anything down anymore, so it's just that is how your park will be until the next day, and then you just spend your research points if you want them. Review your finances and see how well you're doing and what the park reviews have been, and off and away you go. What I haven't said actually is this tots up is that the way how you make money is by placing donation pots outside exhibits. So a bit like in theme park where you would pay to go on rides as well as paying to get in on a ticket. that's kind of how this generates revenue. So if you make really good dinosaurs and they're really accessible and the place is nice and happy, then they'll chuck more in the tip jar as they go past exhibits and enjoy them. And here you can see some of the people saying that my place is a state. So this is the science section. So your scientists, so long as you place them in a science area, will generate science credits for you. And this is the tree of how you unlock stuff. And I really like that you can take different paths and prioritize stuff as you see fit. So I was looking at employee learning and learning more science stuff and getting more food for people to then buy food and generate more revenue. But what I was looking at here was that I'd completely forgot, I think I go for it here, is the bathroom pack, because I hadn't actually bothered with any... yeah, here we go. So that's me unlocking the bathroom. A picnic table, and that's something that we can add to our food to make them either go to the bathroom less or more. And it's similarly to that, if your dinosaurs end up happy at the end of the day, then they give you hearts, and those hearts are the other currency that you can need. And I don't spend anything here because I need 9 hearts to get the medium dino friends, which is where you can start adding in shelters. Because at the end of each day, pretty much my dinosaurs are like, we're scared of the public, and it's because I've encircled that path round that big enclosure and they don't like it. So you need to think about that and balance out basically dinosaur happiness versus visitor accessibility. And I really like that as a mechanic. It's not really something that I've seen put that way before. So yeah, I think the graphics are quite cute. I'm a big fan of low poly. I know it's not for everyone, and I know some people really dislike it, but I'm a big fan. I always love low poly stuff. I really like the style. You need to make sure that you've put feeders in the bloody exhibits as well. And I've not even put a tip jar out the front for that exhibit during this video, so I will remind myself when I play in a bit later on today how we go. So this is how you dig for new fossils to make new eggs. So when you hire scientists, you can take them on exhibitions with you, and each one has like its own thing. So these two, apart from me, have got a 3 like Tetris block thing, and what you do is they have certain ones, and now Aaron's run out, so I'd have to go to Kane to finish off the job. Is to basically try and find what you've got left. So you strategically place your blocks where you can, and there you can see I found a skull. Mahaha. And I specifically said I'm looking for Stegosaurus stuff, so it's given me the Stegosaurus build to go and find. And you basically, very similar to Jurassic Park's new game actually, it's you go to the same place over and over again and you bleed that place dry. So this will be the last time that I can really look for Stegosaurus stuff, but it's the easiest, most placid dinosaur, which was why I was going for it. But I will need to look at a different dinosaur to allow these bones in these places to replenish over time. But this has been relatively fruitful, I think. But what this does is give me enough skeleton bones to then go back. So if I was to go for a different place, I'd go to that portal and select a different dinosaur in that drop down and go again. But let's go to the shop. We're missing an imperfect gem. So because I've not unlocked the bait ability to find them on a dig, I'll just have to buy it for 500 spadulies. And there we go. I can now create my egg. Ta-da! In it comes. And then I need to dive and drop that, and I'll drop it in with the other friend. Now I know instantly that when those two are both hatched, they'll go, this exhibit's too small. But I don't go into that and start expanding in the video. Basically, you just make more of an exhibit and then put the fence out wider and delete your original one, and it will understand. It's quite good like that. You also need to put in lights, obviously, for the evening section so that people don't all go home straight away. Bins are very useful for clearing litter. They do. If you do put them in places, people do actually put stuff in a bin instead of on the floor. I'm trying to think what else I'd want to say actually in how this all goes together. I'm. What I will say is the overall pace of the game is quite slow initially because I'm showing you this is a park for me, and I admit that I have a very slow playing style when it comes to these types of games on purpose because I love these types of games and I like playing and taking detail of stuff. This game has it's weird. It's slow paced because I've only got a couple of dinosaurs in, and I'm not expanding my park too quickly. But there's no pause because the day once it starts will keep going until it's finished. And so you need to use your time wisely, even though you are only progressing slowly as you go along. I found that if I get too bogged down in stuff that's not park related, when I return, quite often my dinosaurs are like wrecking havoc, and they've broken out. So you need to kind of keep flicking around between screens, and I quite like that micromanagement because the park is quite small. I wonder how I'll feel about that when the park is huge. Performance-wise, this game runs absolutely fine. Unlike Parkasaurus, which is a game that looks like it should be really easy to run on a PC, but actually really slowed my PC down to an absolute crawl. I found that with this, the low poly effect was really quite simple, and there's not like thousands and thousands of people coming into my park yet, so I plan to return to this game a little bit later on in a couple of updates time, and I'll have some bigger parks by then to kind of show you how it's all working. But I just wanted to get something out there because the developer was kind enough to share me a copy of the key, and I'd been playing with this for a couple of hours, and I just thought, it's really good. And for a game that's in early access, the fact that it's already of such a high standard of playing, it makes like the the latest Roller Coaster Tycoon World, it stomps all over that, and it's not even like fully going yet. And you kind of think, wow, there's so much to this game. But I'm really excited for when it hits version 1.0. So other stuff that's kind of expected to come to this game in the future will be Steam Workshop, which is quite interesting. And I think that will really open up the world for people to share their parks or share creations that they've done in terms of exhibits or something like that. I'm not entirely sure how it will work. What would I say is good constructive feedback? I think I just want more. Essentially, more dinosaurs, more ability to customize stuff as I go along. Because there's things like you can put overhead signs, but they all say Parkasaurus, and I'd really like them to say my park's name. I'd really like to see more dynamics in putting dinosaurs that don't get along in the same place and seeing how silly that ends up becoming. But it's all stuff that kind of is the nuance of things that I'd expect to come later on. And because you can already see the foundations of that with the dinosaurs getting along together in the same place and then wanting to mate and have babies, that kind of stuff, and falling in love, I can see that it's already going that way. So I don't really feel like I need to say, can we have this, please? Yeah, I guess the only other things that would be quite handy is a little bit more in terms of how you can visualize the flow of stuff. What you can do, and I've not shown in this video, is a bit like how you've got in 2 Point Hospital, where you can look at how happy people are, and it does like a heat map of it. It does that for things like dinosaur privacy, trash, that kind of stuff. But I'd like to see a little bit more variety in how those maps are worthwhile to me. And I'd really like a pause button if possible. because sometimes I want to sit and really, really plan something out, and I'm fully aware that I can't plan and build at the end of a day like here, because you can see the park is closed and you can't click on it. Nor can you pause and then like really take time over getting something, because I'm always aware that when I'm building something, something's going wrong probably somewhere else. So yeah, and I'd like to have a bit more around janitors and area patrol. I think that would be the only other thing that I miss from, say, Planet Coaster. But apart from that, this is an absolutely fantastic game. There is so much potential and promise here. I think I'm going to start buying some bits with my hearts, but I stopped the video before I used them. And I really hope this whets your appetite. I'm super excited for where this game goes. I will be doing more gameplay of this on the channel. I know of some people that follow this channel who will be all over this. Mr. Roy and Mr. Pinky himself. They'll love this, and I think we'll do some live Let's Plays and watch me run wild and de-evolve the planet. You take care. I'll catch you soon. Bye. This channel is just one of my many projects that cover games, music and film. If you enjoy any of these and would consider supporting me to develop further in the future, you can do so by visiting patreon.com/Satorimon. Thank you for your time and for watching the video.